friends. Oh, thank you for joining me tonight. It's Monday night. That means it is story time with Miss Kris. Thank you for joining me. If you didn't guess, I'm Miss Kris. I'm a creative dramatics and communications tutor. I'm going to tilt the camera up just a wee bit. Gosh, I can never get that right. There we go. That's better. Hey, I've got a question for y'all. Has anyone seen a bow? A bow. I've been looking for this bow and I'm trying to figure, oh, you know, there it is on top of my head where I left it last. Go figure. Okay, anyway, so we're going to start with story time with Miss Kris, but y'all, it's not me reading the story tonight. No. It is a very, very special guest who is near and dear to my heart. She is the person who introduced the love of books, the love of stories, the love of reading, and that's my mom. Yep, that's right, y'all. My mom is reading a story to my dog who is currently under blankets with her unicorn and her bear and all of her other friends and just waiting to hear this beautiful story, the story of the shape of home. And this is gorgeously illustrated, beautiful story by Rashin Kheiriyeh, an Iranian author, and all about this little girl who is from Iran. So a gorgeous story. I am actually going to be dramatizing this story with my middle school students this year. I'm really excited to do that, but more excited to hear my mom read it to y'all. So afterwards, stay tuned after the story because I am going to do a little brief star and step, which is what I call my classroom. She will probably have more stars than steps because let's face it, she's my mother and she's amazing. But stars are things that I thought she did really well with the tools that we've been talking about the last few weeks with storytelling at bedtime. And then a few steps of things that maybe we could do to improve that link more into the learning aspect, just a little bit more. Okay, so without further ado, here is my mother.
Okay, it's time for a story with little Gracie. Gracie, are you ready for a nice bedtime story? Look at the book we're going to read tonight. Oh, such a pretty cover. I knew you would like it. We have a wonderful story to read tonight. It's called The Shape of Home by Rashin Kheiriyeh. And you can see what a great cover that is. So colorful. All right, and here begins our story. Are you ready, Grace? Here's the story. My name is Rashin, and today is my first day of school in America. I'm a little nervous about it. My mom made breakfast shapes for fun. Look, a smiley face pancake, a bear honey bottle, and happy eggs. Do you see any others? I hope my first day of school takes a great shape too. And look, she's there with her mom, and it looks like maybe her sister. And look at the pancakes and the other things. Oh, look, she has a funny smiley face on her pancake. Isn't that sweet? So she's excited about the first day of school. It's an exciting day. All right. Rashin says, I thought I would get to ride to school with the other children on a lovely yellow school bus, but it turns out I will walk. My umbrella has the shape of a kitty. So there is Rashin walking to school, and look at this. There's her umbrella that looks just like a little kitty. Pretty. On a little rainy day, but she still has a smiley face. Okay, let's see what happens next. Oops, there we go. When I was living in Iran, I would walk to school with my best friend, Azadeh. Every morning, we would smell the fresh bread from Mr. Hassan's bakery. The shape of the bread was like my braided hair. Here they call it challah. So look, there is Mr. Hassan's bakery. Look at all the people going in there to get all that delicious bread. And you see how it's braided? Just like when girls braid their hair and make it into a nice big braid that goes down their back. All right, and there she is. You see, she's got some yummy bread to eat. Okay, let's see what happens next. When I walk with my mom in New York City, everyone is in a rush. Some people hurrying to work, some walking in the parks. I see them crossing the street in lines. I see circles on bikes and on car wheels. So look at all these people in New York. There's a taxi and people on bicycles and people crossing at the crosswalk. And over here, we can see even more people. See, they're waiting to cross. Everybody's very busy and going lots of different places and lots of shapes. Circles on the car wheels and streets have lines, lots of shapes. Oops, let's see if I can turn this page. The pages were stuck together. All right, here we are. Azadeh liked to collect the blossoms under the orange tree and make necklaces and bracelets for us. She made them in the shape of hearts. They smelled so good. Oh, look how sweet. Look at this. She takes the blossoms from the orange tree and she makes them into necklaces and bracelets, and look how pretty. And they smell sweet as can be with all those flowers. Heart shape. I like that shape. We jumped over the small streams and sometimes through paper boats in the water and raced them to school. They looked like 3 triangles stuck together. Oh, look down here. See the 3 triangles? And they made a paper boat. That's an interesting shape. I was always the fastest girl, even though it was hard to run in our school uniforms. Guess what funny shape the uniforms gave us? Oh, they're wearing their uniforms to school. Let's see. Here we are. All the girls would wear long turquoise dresses with white hijabs around our heads. And when we walked to our school together, the boys at the school nearby would tease us, saying that we looked like a carton of eggs. That made us laugh. Well, what do you think? There's a carton of eggs, and there are the girls in their uniforms with their hijabs. They kind of look a little like a carton of eggs, don't they? Let's see what happens next. Hi, Rashin, a girl from my neighborhood says as I walk in the door. Oh, Adia, it's so awesome to see you here, I say. We hug and sit next to each other. Isn't that nice? She has a friend from her neighborhood in her class at school. It's nice to have friends in your class. I look around. The classroom is bright and happy. There are books everywhere, but they all open backwards from books in Farsi, the language I spoke in Iran. And the letters have funny shapes too. So she's learning a new language and new books to read because it's in a different language, the language of English. The teacher smiles at all of us. Hello, class. My name is Mrs. Martin. I grew up in New Jersey, but my grandparents came from Benin, which is long and skinny like me. That makes the class laugh. You are an exciting class because you come from so many different places. Why don't you all take a few minutes to think about it, and then we'll introduce ourselves and the place or places we come from. Isn't that interesting? She's from another country called Benin. While you're thinking, I'll show you Benin. It's located in West Africa. The shape of my country looks a little like a flashlight. See what I mean? Where do your families come from? And here you can see there's a map of Africa, and her country is Benin, which is right here, this little orange spot. And it does look like a flashlight, the shape of her country. Isn't that cool? Yes. And there it is over here. There's the flag of Benin and the shape of the country. Where do your families come from? That's a fun thing to explore. My name is Akio, and my family came from Japan. I think my country looks like a seahorse, Akio says. That makes me laugh. And that's his country, Japan. See, does that look like a seahorse to you? I think it does. Let's see who else is going to talk about where their family comes from. Michael. Michael points out another country on the map. My parents are from Italy, but I was born here. Italy looks like a boot. Michael shows us his rain boots. And sure enough, look at that. There's Michael's rain boots. And this is the shape of the country of Italy. Looks just like his boots, right? I am from India. My country looks like a Hindu goddess, Aida says, with a yoga pose. Oh, look at that. And there's the shape of the country of India. And this is a yoga pose. Look at that, by a Hindu goddess. I think they look very similar, those shapes. Lots of shapes. Now it's my turn. I am so excited to introduce my country to the class. My name is Rashin, and I am from Iran. My country looks like a cat, a Persian cat. Meow. I say that with a cat pose. Everyone laughs loud. And there she is. And look at that. This is the shape of the cat. And this is the shape of the country of Iran, where she came from. They do look kind of similar, don't they? When we were all done, Mrs. Martin asks us to imagine what various parts of the United States look like. Aida says, Florida looks like a dog's tongue. There's the shape of Florida, like that. Oh my goodness, it looks just like this dog's big, long tongue. How about that? I say Long Island looks like a fish swimming to the shore. And look at there. There's a great big huge fish going to the shore. And there's Long Island. It does look like a big fish. Akio thinks New York looks like a big heart. What do you think? There's the shape of New York. And there's a big heart. Does that look the same to you? So many shapes. Then we imagine a map of the United States of America using shapes. We think it looks like this. Oh, look at this. We have the map of the United States of America, and look at all these different shapes for different states. How about that? Gracie, I think I'm putting Gracie to sleep with this story. And by the end of the day, my classroom is shaped like a home. Oh, look at that. Rashin has made so many new friends, and they're from all different places in the world, and their families come from different countries or from different states. And look how wonderful. So many shapes and so many new friends. And that's the end of this wonderful little story called The Shape of Home by Rashin Kheiriyeh. Yay. I hope you enjoyed it. I think Gracie did.
I think she did
yes,
too.
I think.
Oh, I tell you, that mom, she's some good storyteller. What do you think? Yeah. Yay. Oh, she was so good. Now we have the post event to the event, which was the story. So the stars and the steps. And I also have a button for y'all. A button is something that I've been including as a little extra tip at the end of each story time, which is a little something that you can do that would help prolong the experience of the story with your child in a really cool way. So if you want to go back and look at other story times I've done, I put in the videos, obviously, I described the buttons, but if you just want to look at the description also of the video, it also tells you the buttons in there. It all has to do with the lunchbox, right? Little tools for the lunchbox. But let's start with stars and steps. So stars, as I mentioned, my mother was fabulous. I thought that she did a really wonderful job with recapping. So her excitement in reading the stories, you can tell that I love reading and stories because you can hear it in her voice. right? Very exciting. You're engaged completely. She is fully present when reading the story. The excitement of reading comes through the excitement of her in reading the story, and kids pick up on that energy as well. So that's really cool. I thought she did that really wonderfully. I took notes. But what I was saying is at the end of each page, she did a beautiful recap that further engaged that excitement. Like, look at this and look at that and look at, right? So she kind of she pointed things out again that really plugged on the emotion of what the character of Rashin was feeling going through this story, which I really, really loved, and it kept me hooked. I thought vocally, she also she gave great emphasis on the five senses, right? So whenever, a big thing in theater that we always use whenever we explore and create a dramatics is how can you use your five senses within your acting experience? So I thought she did a great job vocally in letting us feel these different senses, from touch to smell to taste to hearing, right? So yes, so I thought that was wonderful. I will say there are a few steps of things that anyone can do, and these are just my opinion, just because I've been doing this for a very long time in a different genre of an audience than a lot of y'all have when you're either with your children, right? But I'm coming from a perspective of a theater teacher, of working with a massive group who is looking to engage on more of a performance stage aspect, right, versus bedtime. So, but we can still take these same tools and put them towards bedtime, because they further, especially with this story, they further the literacy excitement, and I really want to tap into that. So a few steps. One is a little more differentiation with voices. There was a few voices in there, like the teacher, we started to hear a little bit of a different voice. And I believe the friend, we started to hear a little bit of a different voice. But I would have loved from the beginning hearing a little bit of a different voice from Rashin, and then of the other characters, just to give it a little extra oomph. Right? You can do whatever you want, but just a little something just to give them a little extra, something that you can identify with, going, oh, that's right, this is this character. So the differentiation in the voices, I thought Mom vocally used the senses so well, but physically, I also wanted to add in, like when she smelled the challah bread, right? She talked about the visualizations of the bread and the braid of the hair. It looked like the braiding of the hair, and you could see it, you could experience it. It was wonderful. But the smelling of the bread, ooh, what does that smell like? Like fresh bread coming out of the oven. Ooh, that smells so good, right? Yeah, rolls, right? Or challah bread. Challah bread smells amazing coming out of the oven. So having that experience, for example, would be great. And the only other last thing, which is something that I tied in earlier a little bit with the academics, is the reference to shapes. So math, this book is called The Shape of Home. So we know we're dealing with shapes. And the great thing about the arts and the academics is they often blend together in a really beautiful way. So this book uses a lot of things that are shapes within them. There's a lot of telling of the shapes throughout the book, which I thought was good. I thought we could have mixed and matched when we told about shapes, and to have your child actually have the realization and the participation of going, what shapes do you see? What does that remind you of? Where is the cat on here? Where do you see the cat in the shape versus the actual cat on the page, right? So finding ways for your child to also point out and participate is also that level of engagement that's just as exciting. So remember with storytelling, y'all, at bedtime, you're not having to have the full brunt of it on yourselves. Your kids are excited because yes, they want to be told the story, but they also want to experience it with you. They want to be involved and participate. They want the audience participation. The button. All right, so the button. So I made this little thing. I kind of made it quick. It's a home. Okay, now you can make your, oh, there's the camera. You can make your home however it is. I just decided to do, since we were talking about shapes, we have shapes here, okay? So we got like a little triangle thing going on here, and we got a little square, two little shapes. Again, you can say, what shapes do you see in this home, right? And what shapes do you see in that home? So we made a little 3D toy here. This is a button. This is something y'all can put in their lunchbox the next day as something that they can do to take what they learned, and how can they make friends that maybe are different from them or have different customs or cultures, and get to know them and be kind and receive the kindness back, right? Learning about who these great people are. So on the front, you always start with an affirmation, right? On the front, you always tell them something that you love about them, because they need to hear it. They need to hear it every day. You are my home. A little heart. Then you turn it around. I drew a little bit of a home here. Now that's something you can, if you're super artsy, you can decorate it. You can do whatever you want, okay? But I did 3 little shapes on here, okay? We got a rectangle. What's that shape? Rectangle, right? Got some grass and some flowers. You open it up. It's got a prompt. The prompt with the grass says, how can you be kind and blossom in someone's life whom you don't know? Okay, so finding someone that they don't know that well, and how can you be kind to that person that day? What's something, a deed or something you can say, or right? So that's a little prompt. Then you have 2 other little prompts that are a little bit easier up here. 2 things that kids are very passionate about, especially young kids. That is food and animals, okay? So again, what you can do is you can write, food, or draw a picture of food, and then they can write little notes to themselves. They can flip this up, and on this part here, they can draw a picture of food that their friend told them about, right? Same thing with an animal. They can tell an animal that their friend told them about that's either from their ancestors' country, or from their country where they're from, or from, the state that they live in. I mean, even if they live over in like Utah or something like that, maybe there's an animal over there that's real special to them, okay? Okay, so there's a lot of, right, whether it's in-state or if it's worldwide, it's all about how can we create conversations, authentic conversations with our children, with people who we may not know that well, that we may want to get to know. And that's all about the beauty of this story. So y'all, I thank you so much for joining me tonight. Excuse me, I know I went a little long. There was a lot to unpack in this beautiful story and these different tools. I hope you found them helpful. Feel free to leave me a comment below on what y'all thought. And also feel free to leave me a comment if there is either a story, or if there is something that you have a question about with storytelling that you want me to talk about on a live, or want me to want to ask me about, and I'm happy to go into that a little bit more. I am having a Black Friday sale only until December 5th. I've done camps before, but I have not done them at this price point. It will still be fabulous, and I want to have a whole bunch of people on. I'm really excited. But it's a drama camp. It's going to be a storytelling drama camp that focuses on, obviously, storytelling and building up confidence. It's a 3-day camp, the last week of this year, for 3 days, and it's only $30. Actually, it's $29. It's $29. It's less than $10 a day, and it's for an hour each day. And the last day we put on a little show. So if you're interested in that, please reach out to me or go on my Facebook page. I have the links there. And we can book a call. We can talk more about that, because I will need to onboard you to get you prepared for what it's like to do it online, so that you and your child are fully prepared and you're all set to go. And we're going to have a good time. All right, y'all, spread the word too. I'd love to have more kids on here with me. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I love y'all. And hey, have a great, great week.